Hi, I'm Paul Hogan, Director of Athletics, head men's basketball coach, professor of sports management.
And I'm Simon Keeling, Assistant Men's Basketball Coach here at NHTI and run the Edward Jones Investments office here in Concord.
Yes, and Simon, thanks for all your involvement over the years in support of our athletic program, not only as a coach, a player, a coach, and also a supporter of our Edward Jones tap-off tournament at the beginning of every year, which is always great too. But you played here. How was your experience as a basketball player and now as a coach? My gosh, that seems like eons ago.
It does seem like a long time ago. It's two very different experiences. I mean, I was here 03, 04, I believe, and at that point I was in my second year removed from England. I was an exchange student in Ohio for a year and then came to play a year here. And the connection, probably no surprise to listeners and everybody here, was good old Plymouth State. So my coach and good friend back in England played for Paul at Plymouth State, and after a year of being an exchange student in Ohio, it made sense for me to continue trying to learn and get better as a player, and this was a good opportunity for me to come and do that. So it was a good experience.
And you, like so many other players that we've had in the program, you played here and then you moved on and played at Johnson & Wales. You're a member of their basketball team with Dice Oshimoto, who's now with the Knicks. Your good friend through that you met here at NHTI, but that must have been a nice experience for you to move on to the next college.
Yeah, the basketball world it's small, really, and so attending here, I mean, everybody had a dream of an athletic scholarship, and I'm 5'11", I'm not the quickest guy, and that dream never came to fruition, but was able to get academic scholarships and follow in Dice's footsteps and go down and play Division III at Johnson & Wales in Providence. And Dice was my roommate down there. We didn't actually get to play together here. We kind of passed each other in the summer. He was leaving and heading down there the year ahead of me, and I followed him a year later. But we were roommates in Providence, and he and I kept in touch and are really close friends, and he's had a good experience between college and working in the NBA, and he's doing very well. So.
Yeah, it's a great story that you've been able to stay in touch with him, especially through all his NBA experiences that he's had. I know that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've always tried. I mean, I was lucky enough after college to be able to work in the NBA Development League, and Dice was a video coordinator in New Jersey, I believe, after college, and I kind of transitioned out of the NBA and into the finance world, and Dice kind of kept with the grind and went to a video coordinator and bounced around. He was with the Bulls, the Nuggets, Minnesota, and now the Knicks, and whenever they've been in town, it doesn't work out every season, but if it works for my schedule, I mean, I'll try to, when they're playing the Celtics, I'll try to go down and even if I don't catch the game, try to catch lunch or brunch or something, and stay in contact. So he and I, speak on a regular basis, and it's a friendship that will hopefully continue here for 9 years.
So when you left the developmental league for the NBA and you came back to NHTI and you jumped back into coaching, I remember the conversation, and obviously a great addition to our coaching staff. You brought a lot of wealth of experience and so forth. What are some of your fondest memories of some of those early teams that you got involved with, and some of the players perhaps on those teams?
Yeah, I think I mean, having the opportunity to come back and be a part of the staff when really, other than helping out at training camps and working camps and things, I've not obviously really had much coaching experience, especially at the college level. So I was very thankful, and to have you and Coach Lloyd, who obviously I played for both of you. I think I was on one of Coach Lloyd's first teams when he was an assistant. So the two of you were pretty much the only people I even knew in New Hampshire when I came back. So to learn and keep, I mean, basketball always has been and always will be my passion and love, and sort of work, and then kind of have the outlet to be able to come here and learn and work with a young team. And we had some talent back then. I mean, we had some very good teams, and it was a lot of fun. So.
One of my fondest memories was that team, the 2010-11 team that we captured the Yankee championship with the games being played at Southern Maine. You probably remember that, down 18 at halftime.
Absolutely.
And, you know, it wasn't looking very good. And boy, we pulled it off in the second half and upset a very good Vermont Tech team that had not lost all season long in the conference and was highly ranked. And we had a good team, but we put it all together. Do you remember that game, that experience?
I do, and I won't name the coach, but you'll know who I'm talking about. I mean, we were told at halftime it was a buzzsaw, and everybody in that building expected us to lose by 30 or 40. And yeah, that Vermont Tech team was unbelievable. I mean, they had men where, I mean, most of our guys at that time, I think, were probably 18, 19 years old, and they fought back. It was a great game, and guys, I mean, came together, and like I said, they were young men at that point, so to be able to compete and play against guys that in most cases, most of the stars were significantly older. We believed, and obviously we convinced that we didn't build by the end of it, but yeah, we were definitely counted out a lot of time for sure.
It certainly was a great championship and tremendous after the game celebration with the guys. You know, those special memories that you get. What are some other great memories that you've had over the years coaching besides last year's national championship?
Yeah, this past year, I mean, coming back and getting more involved, I was essentially, I mean, full-time working with you, I think probably 09 to 13, 14-ish, and then took a little bit of a break and came back full-time last year. So last year was special, but I mean, thinking back to those first 4 or 5 years of coaching, I think for me it's some of the friendships. I mean, we move on a lot of players to four-year schools when it makes sense, but obviously for some kids, for family reasons or academic reasons, I mean, this is just a good fit and a good home. So as you know, a lot of those guys were with us two, 3, and 1 or 2 of them were with us 4 years. So they almost, I mean, back then, I mean, and even now, almost like little brothers, and just the relationships and friendships that you build from coaching and being in this environment are special. And I mean, still today, some of those players I'm still in contact with. One of them's, I mean, chopped down trees for me, and is actually going to be chopping down some more trees for me. So
he's very good. I've hired Jackson Reel as well. He's tremendous.
Yeah, it's great. It's just nice. I think one of the most rewarding things is, I mean, I certainly love to compete and be a part of the season, and but building those relationships and seeing young men that probably didn't even think they'd have a chance of getting a college degree actually graduate, and then you see them get into their careers and be successful. I mean, that's really, really cool to see years after what some of these guys are now doing. It's really cool.
So some of the great individual performers we've had over the years, you know, we put Antoine Harris in the Hall of Fame last fall, but you know, individual performances. Our guy Besford Sula, you know, who you know, Aladdin. He put on some individual performances in some games. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, talent-wise, I mean, thinking back to those years, obviously Besford and Antoine,
Terry Williams.
Yeah, I mean, Besford's probably, well, he's probably still not got his haircut since 2009. He was a player that, I mean, at times we'd want to grab him and ask him what the heck he was doing, but some of the things he could pull off, and some of the steals, he probably could have took a few more layups with the runaway breakaway threes that, I mean, he'd make more than you would miss. So he, very, very exciting to watch, a true competitor. I mean, love to win.
Loved his chicken Caesar salad wraps too. You know, those.
He did.
You know, loved those, and he definitely probably had some of his very best games against Southern Maine Community College, one of our real rival teams.
Yeah, probably. I mean, learning to like most of these guys, I mean, learning to take care of themselves, some basic things of drinking water and sleeping and eating. Yeah, Bestford, we forget some of those things sometimes, and so would some of the others. But yeah, we try to take care of him, and when he actually ate, I don't think there was any coach in the conference that enjoyed seeing him suit up for us, just because they knew that he could be a game changer. So, and him being a local guy from Manchester, obviously he was from Europe originally, but I mean, to actually have kind of a New Hampshire guy and have his family.
This really became his home, and then his brother Booyar was here, and
Right.
Booyar was, opposite in many ways personality-wise, but equally the same kind of competitive type of kid. And Booyar was here for 3 years and played, and they both have done quite well with themselves, and a pleasure to be around. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, very good family.
so, who's the best rebounder, do you think, in your days of NHTI, besides JQ? Because JQ's an easy one.
Yeah, I mean, recently JQ and Nas, but again, trying to think back more to those previous 4 or 5 years. We've not mentioned him yet. He was undersized. He was probably not much bigger than myself, but I mean, Nick Porter would surprise us at times and somehow get up to 11 feet and grab rebounds above the rim.
Bundle of energy too.
Yeah, just always played hard, very consistent. I mean, he was pretty reliable, for sure. I mean, he comes to mind. So, yeah, and Terry could fly pretty high. So, but yeah, I think Nick deserves a mention from those years for sure.
How about the one that got away, the 2012-13 team where we had a 25-game win streak? Everything seemed to be going right, and then all of a sudden everything went wrong and fell in a few minutes.
Right, right. You meaning down in Nationals?
Well, prior to that,
Prior to that,
when we were in the conference championship and
right.
Playing a very good Vermont Tech team, we'd beaten twice, but
Right.
we had Jackson breaks his hand, Antoine sprains his ankle, Terry
Right.
lands hard on his shoulder. Those are 3 of our best players.
Yeah, that was, if I remember correctly, it was up in Central Maine, and yeah, we always seemed to come up against ETC. I mean, they were very, very strong for a number of years, and certainly that one, with the season that we had, I mean, ranked #1, which, I mean, at that time, and even recently, we've been on a regular basis, but that was tough. I mean, a lesson there is, I mean, for any team, I mean, if you're not getting a run and you're not getting minutes, it's hard. You can be frustrated, you can be upset, but you've got to stay ready. And we had some talent on the bench, and unfortunately, they've not got much run recently. And when we did need them, it was a tough moment. And the players realized it and knew it, and I think at least learned from it. And that's all we can ask is in those moments that we learn. So.
Right. So as we get to wrap up here, close to wrapping up, but share a couple of your favorite moments during your NHTI experience here with men's basketball.
We hit on one. I mean, I think, again, the comeback conference championship win at Southern Maine against BTC was a lot of fun. That was very, very exciting. And then this past year is certainly, I mean, hard to beat. We had one returner, obviously, early in JQ, and I mean, I've not been a part of the teams in recent years, so I didn't even really know JQ. So I came back not really having a relationship with anybody. JQ was thankfully very mature and very open, and he and I formed a bond. And I mean, like you do in most years, I mean, you're putting together a lot of guys that have never played together before. And we had a mix of talent and guys that have had a little bit of maturity and played at a few different places. And I think early on, I mean, as a coaching staff, we realized the potential. But obviously, having potential and executing and actually winning is two totally different things. There was certainly bumps along the way, but actually getting to the point where we got over the hump and won the first game at Nationals, which is a tough one. Then we come up against the #1 team in the country who were very, very good. To pull that off. And that probably took most of our energy. I mean,
We played a great game.
It took a lot of...
From the beginning to the end, we played hard, we really played well.
We did. So then to be in that championship game and be so close, I mean, we obviously came up against a zone which we've not seen much of, and to pull it out, I mean, it's just a special moment. And for me to be able to have my mom from England, and obviously my kids there, and my daughter saying, "Oh, could we do this again next year?" That's hard to beat, and obviously to have my kids with me going to get the medal and things at the end. I mean, I'll remember that forever. So that was definitely hard to beat.
Yeah, that's no question. That, you know, 05 and 2020, a couple of championship teams, great, but so many of the other teams that you were part of that were successful, and then that I'll never forget that feeling in 2011 when we came back and won it, and just like the 12-13 team when we were at Berkeley on the road down 18 at half, and we won by 25, I think, and no offense to Berkeley, but they thought they had won the NCAA at halftime. And boy, we tweaked a couple things, and we just dominated the second half. So, you got to play a full game, you got to play a full season, and it creates a lot of great memories if you do, and certainly a lot of good relationships. But I want to thank you, Simon, for coming in and joining us here at NHDI as we, do with our Coach the Coach series, as we're sharing pieces of NHCI history with all of our different sports. So thank you so much for.
You're welcome. Thank you for being part of it.